Now here's where things get really mind-blowing and will give you a glimpse into the future of programming. At this point, you have the general idea of how React works, but you may not know JavaScript very well or haven't memorized all the little quirks in the framework. Or maybe you're a React expert and just don't want to go through the tedious process of writing perfectly structured code. So what we can do next is have ChatGPT come up with a pseudocode language for React. What this will do is allow us to agree on some general guidelines to represent the structure of a React component. As you can see here, it looks kind of like YAML and allows us to define state and then the rendering function or JSX. And if we don't like the way it looks, we can tell it to come up with a different idea, like maybe make it look more like Python. Actually, no, let's make it look like a cooking recipe, which is surprisingly a very intuitive way to represent a React component. And as an added benefit, you could write this in any human language and have it translate your pseudocode back to English. But from a practical standpoint, I think you want something that kind of looks like YAML. Overall, it's way more concise and doesn't require us to use precise syntax, but at the same time, it will give us relatively consistent results. And we can make it even better by including relevant documentation or a style guide to force it to write code in a style that fits our project, because GPT-4 can now handle up to 25,000 tokens. The end result is your own custom AI pseudocode language. As you can see here, I wrote out a relatively complex component in this language, and it generates perfect React code as a result. But most importantly, it generates the same code every time, most of the time, maybe 80% of the time. This is pretty mind-blowing, because now any developer can have their own custom-tailored pseudocode language that can transpile into complex code in virtually any language without understanding the underlying syntax. In a previous video, I predicted that someday there will be a universal AI language, but maybe I was wrong.